when we turned on the video, it caught the words, the best of shape. So
the Hebrews not letting me get away with it. Alright, so we're holding on Tov Mem Daled right at the bottom and running on to Tov Mem Hey. I have a feeling it's not working because last night they told me it wasn't working.
Wasn't working?
So I don't know if they've done anything with it in the meantime. They said it needed to be the battery either changed or refilled. So I doubt if they've really done anything about it. It's working?
I can't get it to work.
Right. They said that it was not working, but they said that this also records.
Yeah.
It not only just films, but it records. So, the Oelaches Tishrei, Tovshin Samach Tes, Hemshech Ayin Beis Chelik Rishon, page or Omid Tov Mem Daled, Tchilas Dibur HaMaschil, Lech Lecha, Tov Reish Ayin Daled. We saw that the Aveda of the Ketores was Iskashus in the Etzem and Neshama, and we brought the Maimah of Rabbi Shimon B'chad Ketira Iskatana, but that's of interest because we're not yet talking B'madregas HaYechida Mamish. Mavua Berova Makemis, that's referring to the Madrega of Yechida, B'chad Ketira Iskatana. And here we're not talking B'klal B'madregas HaYechida Ela Madrega de Machif de Chaya Bilvad. Afopi Kain, it would appear that that Maimah of Rabbi Shimon is referring B'klal to the Aveda of the Mitzad HaEtzem. Whether the Etzem is Mitzad HaYosha, like we're talking here, or whether it's Mitzad HaYinyan HaYechida, then like we saw the Diuk HaNifla in the previous class, that when things come Mitzad HaManagid, when the Aveda, which is Mitzad HaNeshama Be'etzem, Neshama Atzmo, is Mitzad HaManagid LeElokus, then it would appear that we go into a much higher union because it's mitzad what we call the Chayzer. In other words, then it's like the Makabel going back with a take of Godel l'Sharshai, but that's union of El Chayzer to call for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can maybe I don't know. I like the air conditioner, but it's maybe sit over here. Good. So once we talk about the Aveda of Yechida, then it would seem that the Ika Madregas HaYechida or the Ika Madregas Shalamayla Miyachayo, which can be both Yechida and Lamayla Miyachida Mistam. The deal we saw was that they come precisely Mitzad HaInya from a Managid. That's a very amazing diuk. The Tafka when there's the, like we saw in the Basi Lagani Barich, is the necessity of Netochim ala Managid, well, that calls out the deepest koiches, which are Nogea Mamish and Etzem and Nefesh Kipshutei. Demos did this an Aveda which is Mitzad HaChoyzer, meaning how the Manag gives himself away completely. But that already arouses in Yonim, which are B'derech HaChoyzer and completely beyond and subservient to this scene what we're talking here. However, even this is a Madrega which Mitzad the Etzem HaNefesh. However, it's connected and it's awakened by his bonaness, which is Mitzad the Koiches HaGiluim B'tchilas Inyon. And we saw the Masha Morgish B'Koiches הגילויים דנפש בדרך כלל הוא בחינס האורה שבו בחינס אסלאפשס. Right at the bottom of the Omid. והרגושס או ירין סייף שמופלו ומודו מהאילמס הוא במקיפים דנפש. והיסוירס הוא למעלה מטעם ודאס בבחינס איסקשוס עצמייס. ובכל מוקים על זה בחינס אור יושו והוא בחינס המקיף דחיו. So here's an interesting union that even though it's an act of his bonus, he's misbeinen in the Ur Amufla, we say the Ishtalshalas. And we've already had before, and we've seen in other places, that that's what we call the Hasoga, the Aveda, mitzad what's called Hasoga Sashlila. So that's a form of Hasoga, so Afu Pikeni says that that's PM's Makifim Shevanefesh, and only the Indian of Makifim Shevanefesh are able to reach into the Ur Hamufla. In other words, that it should be Nimshat Bo'ifan Shal Gosha Benefesh, then it's the Ika Aveda is also in Inyonim which are Be'etzem L'mayla Mitam V'daz. So maybe we have to suggest that the point is that Betchila Shebetchila it's stuck here in Shal Isbonanas. It's stuck here a usage of the koiches hapnimiyim, aber wie bald das ist in the Ur in Sefer Mufla. Well, that elevates him into a Indian through the Indian at the beginning of the Chize in the Moyach, and befrat in the Bittel of the Moyach in Be'emes mitzad Chochma Bina mitzad Koyach HaBittel Shebe'em. He's oile into the Indian of Makifim mitzad his bonanes. Well, that arouses that from there on the Aveda is also even from Makifim. In other words, that the Moichin Betchila are like a form of a derech mavir, or like a jump, as I mean. Through that he comes into the Indian Sai in the Makifim Shebenafshei, and Sai the Makifim Shalamayla. And the first, the Rebbe, that's a Indian from Yisayderus Lamayla Mitam Vadas, and it's a Iskashus Atzmiyas, or Mikol Mokim, or Bechinas Ur Yosha. In other words, it's the Seder of the Inyonim Harayam Milmayla Lamata, and the Mitzad, the Seder of the Koiches, right, in the Seder of the Koiches Kufa, it's already in the Koiches which elevate themselves into Madregas Lamayla Miapnimiyim. But they do come in a Seder Vadroge Lefi Araya, the Seder Benefesh, and therefore it's called Ur Yosha, and therefore the Machif is Machif de Chayo. It's a Machif which Shaykh El Pnimi, and it's even maybe possible to say that it's Me'orer or Misorer through the Indian the Koiches Pnimi Betchila, albeit Haraya and even from Bittel of Hasogas Shlila. Validei ha'er Machif de Neshoma misbattle on Nefesh HaBahami is be etzem mohusay. He said, Alidei avoid the misug zeh, since it's in and of Gilo Oiris Makifim, both Benafshe Shela Oiver and both in the Skalas Umayla, and therefore there's an effect on the Nefesh HaBahami is be etzem mohusay. Now we're going to see that כל האביידס הרעיה מצד הפנימי שבנפש ומצד הכוחות הפנימיים, you can affect your nefesh hapamis, you can even cause him to be a symptom of a heder ha'pu'ula lefira v'chulu, of a mamish to touch him be'etzem ha'mahus is not really shy of aveda kazeh. And therefore we'll see in a second what is a dugma of saying you've reached, you've been poil a beetle in the etzem mahus of the nefesh hapamis. What would that mean? How would that express itself? Tehine, now it says already, Tehine is already a beer which is going to make that whole thing clear. Tehine aveda de pnimi agam shepoil gam kein beetle bekoiches hativiyim the nefesh hapamis. In other words, that the koiches hativiyim are what we might call the koiches hagluim of the nefesh apam years. And why are they called tiviyim? Because they all function mitzad the teva. What the teva is good, but even what you might call b'der mamir tov leha odom hativi mitzad atzmei. The far the nefesh hativi is dvorim hativim v'noichim loy. The far al yedei the aveda pnimi you cause a bittul in the koiches hativim, what they like the koiches pnimim of the nefesh elakis, the koiches hagluim, as you might say, the nefesh elakis. And that's the union of nefesh apam is what be'etzem inyone. He's a tivi, and therefore, in his less what you might call grober oifen, or his less amshocha achrei chumias, he's called a nefesh tivias. Mikol mokem, eina mishtana b'zeh be'etzem husay. He's not mishtane be'etzem husay, even though there's a bittul in his koiches hativiyim, meaning his normal gilui of his koiches mitzad mareches hakoiches of the nefesh apam. What does it mean? He's not mishtane be'etzem husay. V'hainu shelo is battle be'etzem husay. Yeah, mishtane means that he's bittul. In other words, if you're going to change, then you've got to have a bittul. Just like we see that any union of a change means a bittul of the previous situation, and a kabbalah too. Just like in tshuva, we see you have to have first of all a zivus ached. Has to be a zivus ached pipashtes, and then there has to be kabbalah teva ala haba. So first of all, there's got to be a shinui be'etzem mahus, meaning that there's got to be a bittul, there's got to be a loss of all the previous etzem dike state of in the nefesh apam years, and then you know that you can build on inyonim letzadachiu letzadatoy. Kemuvah in Mashachuchis over there in Lakutei Torah, we're going to get to the Porah Aduma. The Alter Rebbe says that after you've been poil a bittul in etzem husay, then you can also bring him b'hamshocha elatoy. So the Rebbe says there's no shino be'etzem husay. Since there's no shino, it's dependent hoba. Since there's no shino be'etzem husay, therefore lo yishtane in his etzem gilu, in his etzem medical function, the etzem makeup of the nefesh apam, it doesn't change. Lo yishtane me'achzori l'rachmoni u'kahayavna. In other words, some people that mitzad the etzem nefesh apam, they tend to be cruel. They call it achzori. That's a inu which is mitzad the etzem. That's not mitzad the koiches hagluim, not the seichel and the midas. No, that's the etzem, what you might call hashrosha of the nefesh apam is that he's mushash in inyonim achzori. In other words, he has a certain sadistic tendency to use the expression. So the aveda mitzad the koiches hagluim might affect it in the koiches hativim, the koiches hagluim, in the seichel and the midas and certain cheshbonis of the nefesh apam, he gets affected by the gilui, the koiches hagluim. But he's not going to change from the etzem makeup what he is. What's for a sug mentions of mitzad TV is, he's not going to change. He's not going to change. If he's cruel, he remains cruel. He's not going to change into a rachmoni ukahayavna. The hakol echodu. The Rebbe says it's all one thing. In other words, that bittul be'etzem mahus brings to shinui in the etzem mahustike behavior. It's all one thing. If you cause a bittul in these etzem mahus, then you can swap him from one to the. You can change him from one etzem dike Indian to the other. Like we say over there in Pasha Chukas, that if you reach the etzem pshitas of the nefesh apam through the union of bittul kola dvorim giluim shaboy, and you touch to the very essence on him, then you can bring him also to avalatoy, or you can bring him to amshocha elatoy. If you cause a bittul be etzem shel nefesh apam is, meaning the etzem pshitas of what the nefesh apam really is, then you could maybe hope to change him from his etzem gestel from one in into another. But if you haven't touched the etzem, and brought a bittel into the etzem, you're not going to have any shinui, makeup in the etzem, gestel of the nefsha, abahamish, it's all one, it's all one in you. So it's very interesting, as also dogma, Azori l'rachmoni, as a simon, that it's very important. We must pay attention to our oifen hanoga and our oifen inyonim, that there shouldn't be cholila, any trace of Azori in the other way the Nefesh HaBamis throws us around. Because here we're talking about not just what he says to you or what he comes up with in his midas, but the way he is in Zainetzim, what you might call Ashrosha. In order to alter that, you've got to really get moving with Inyonim, which are Lamaila Mi Ta'am V'das or Lamaila Mi Agbola. And that's maybe, Ulai, that's a bit of a remes to Mavur in the famous passage there in the Kuti Tipurim, where the Friedrich Rebbe says that there's a ina midas tiviyim, and then there's a ina from teva midoisa. So we can say that maybe that's a me'ain from a mavur in this bracket here, that there's a ina from tiviyim, midas tiviyim, that's a koiches ha-tiviyim, the inyonim which are just normal, natural, what you might call giluyim of a teva dike nefesh, a nefesh which is all in, that's to go according to kochsach in inyonim tiviyim. Aber there's a even etzem teva b'doisov. There's a teva in the etzem way that you function mitzad etzem amaus, and that's called the very teva of your midas, not midoisov ativ. That's the way you are. Be'emes. In order to change that, you got to get to an etzem type of avodah. And it's a very fascinating remes. And it's amazing how in Iron Basils, and you see these interesting sort of, lishoinas as also sort of hinting at things that they sort of, like we saw over here, not mitzad menagid, this whole in the royal choice has to have a menagid, and has to be upset. Every now and then you strike up against these sort of key notes, like somebody with a, they call it one of those things, they call it a key, what's it called, a key? Like a musical key or something.
Tuning fork.
Tuning fork, they go boom, and then you get a certain boom, that throws a certain light around and around. וזהו מפני שהאהבה in the koiches הגילויים, which is the Aveda mitzad oyer pnimi, he said, why is it that it doesn't touch the etzem hamahus, and it doesn't cause a shinu in the etzem shtel the nefesh habamis? Zeu mipnei sha'ava im mishashefes etzloi u'biyicheles klei aleiv l'seiv. He said that's because we're going to see that over the mensch when he's kotzach in an ava mitzad ta'am v'das, mitzad his boninus be inyonim which are shaykh be'ikel ta'am v'das, then he becomes good from the whole inyan. But he becomes good in a way that you might say he and Elikus get comfortable together. You know what I mean? He takes Elikus and it's very geschmack and it's very stirring and exemplary and beautiful. So therefore he said it's mishav ubiyicheles klei aleiv l'seiva. He can put up with that ava. On the contrary, ad she'adarava, not only he's able to put up with it, mismaleya ha'ava b'toi klei aleiv. Yeah, the ava fills up the klei aleiv, and he feels full. How do you call it? He feels very fulfilled, full up from good to inyonim, from inyonim elokiim, but they fill up the whole kli. And later on, he's going to add, like b'derech sikum, that when he comes to a further point at the end of the chapter, he's going to be moist that the actual klei aleiv, to a certain extent, cover over the whole take of the inyan, and they almost turn it into a form of a sort of inyativity almost. Like you fill up your heart, and your heart becomes so freedom with it that the heart almost covers it over somewhat, even though it's full with it, but it itself becomes like a little very dachas dika hairstyle. Al chaponim is nishmaleya ha'ava v'tiklei aleiv v'inyan ha'milui, what's it there? Inyan comes full. Yeah, maybe it's only half full. Well, it's full. Yeah, shemisravet simoyen haleiv bo. He becomes, how do you call it? satisfied, his thirst is satisfied. Now, here's a very fascinating point. Why is it that we can describe it as filling the heart? I mean, filling the heart is not a gashim sticking in, obviously. What does it mean it fills the heart? So he compares it to the concept of a mensch who was thirsty, and then he drank. Right? He drank a drink of water in order to fulfill the thirst. So if he had a thirst and he drank sufficient water, so then he's what do you call it? Yeah, he's already what you call it, a satisfied person. He was thirsty. Now he's got the water inside him, and he's a really satisfied person. Here he had a certain longing for Elokus. He was oisik in yon Elokus, bederach his poiners, bederach his stadlers, and that brought him to an in van Ava. And then once he gets the Ava, once he gets to the development of the Gilui Amida, so then he's, as it were, like you mentioned, it's filled his thirst. But to a certain extent, he doesn't really have any more what to thirst for, because the oifen of the thirst has become full, it's become fixed. And that's what we mean by malaya. Malaya means that the thirst has been satisfied. Why is it miskarer? What miskarer tends to indicate that it dies down and it no longer pushes. He was longing for water. He got the water, and the water's gone into his system, so there's no longer any need for the Yesod HaEsh to be burning, because the Yesod HaEsh has been, as it were, quenched or put into satisfaction. Alidei the Gilead the chayfetz pnimi that he had for the mayim, and he's got the mayim. So therefore, to a certain extent, how do you call it, shokta ha'oretz, everything's quietened down. Kain mishum arava tzimoinoi v'tshukos el Hashem alidei ava elakus betfila. Yeah, somebody who's marava tzimoinoi v'tshukos el Hashem alidei ava elakus in davening. So wait a minute, what are the types that he's maravat tzimoini? I mean, I yidot an nefesh elokis. An nefesh elokis has got a tzimoin be'etzem telekus. What are the types to say that, you know, you've reached a certain point where you've fulfilled your thirst? I mean, the nefesh elokis is not going to stop ever. It's not going to take things easy ever. Yeah, so what does it mean that you've fulfilled your thirst? So the Rebbe says,
the more she gets, the more she wants.
Huh?
The more she gets, the more she wants.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Yeah. Or, yeah, the more he gets, the more he wants. Or, you know, it's sort of more like the more he wants. I mean, what's really shad to say that you're marav tzimoina? Yeah, the more you get, the more you would want. So says the Rebbe, what does it mean then by saying that he's marav tzimoina? What are the ties from them? How can you say really that a yid is marav tzimoina? Alidei Elokus, if it's emes davening. So therefore he says, "V'hainu shemistapek b'kiru ubedveikes nafshei ba'ava Elokis." The Rebbe said, he's the problem. It's not the problem with his nefesh Elokis, and it's not the problem with the etzem matzah of a yid legabe Elokus. The etzem matzah of a yid legabe Elokus, ein lachanami, he would always be looking for more tzimoin, more in him. He said, he's as a mensch, what he has been mistapek. And he has become, he's allowed himself to be satisfied. He's, as it were, been magbil, the whole inyan melchatchila, or pnimi, al pitam v'das. And he said, when we'll have a certain kilo, that's kilo, how do you say it, that's well earned bread, and you know, it's enough for the time being, you know. And let's enjoy our effort. How do you call it? Enjoy the results. The fruits of our efforts. Yeah, that was it. He puts the brake on. Not that the etzem koyach the nefesh elokis would put the brake on, or not that the etzem tzimoyin, the yesod ha'esh mitzat the nefesh elokis could be really quenched, but he is allowed a certain gvul asher me'ever lezeh hu lo holeh. Azim came, he is mistapik bekiruv bedveikis nafshei ba'ava ha'elei kis. Yeah, shaharei. How do we know that? And how do we see that? And how does that express itself? How does it work? Shaharei bizbonanas kishemasik oinyan. Harei oinyan eloki meir benafshei. Ubi'ava miskarev nafshei elo eloki. Ubezeh umarav tima. So here the Rebbe puts in what you might call the inyan b'shleimusay, and yet nonetheless, it's an inyan of marav tzimoinai. So the Rebbe said, you can't very well say that this is stamma mensch, what he just is mistapik with hasoga bilvad, or what you might call in the language of Chassidus, the levushi hasoga, just the etzem levushim of knowing and understanding elikus. No, he's come, and he's a practiced man in understanding Chassidus and understanding elikus. He's come to a point where the isboninus is such a good isboninus that he's masig, the divine inyan, he's masig. And what happens is that every divine inyan is got in itself a oir eloki, a emes, a gilui of a pirush or a inyan in Chassidus is a inyan eloki, it's a gilui of elikus. And it brings with it a divine message. So there's two ways you can react to every isboninus. Either you can just take the hasoka, and that's chitonius bilvad, and that's not really avodah. The uftu from emes isboninus and emes avodah is that you come through these isboninus to azar soga. Amiti is that the divine message, the actual elikus which is hidden in those words, is meya into you, into your nefesh. In other words, that you gain the divine light or the divine radiation which is hidden in those words. It's a inyan which mavur ba'avim mekayim b'chassidus, but not always are we oimed l'rega to be some lev pnimis v'atimis ha'inyan b'zeh. I know that we're not always some lev to the ultimate message or the ultimate uftu of a inyan and chassidus, that it's really it's a description of a divine inyan. Everything that the Rebbeim said and wrote was that it's just oisias and clay hasoga to reveal a divine matter. So if it reveals a divine matter, then that means that elikus is hidden in that. It's like it's basically something similar to the old klal that you can learn Torah, but you don't learn realizing that you're only learning from the noise in Torah. You can learn Torah, you just learn all sorts of tremendous asogas in Yonim, Nikofsa, Charum in there, but you forget the noise in HaTorah, you forget that hidden and all that is really David talking to you. That's him showing you, like he did on, how's it written? Ma'ala Holland, Eima Ve'ira, Befachad, Pink as if you're by Sinai. That's the way you're supposed to learn. Yeah. The same when you learn Chassidus, it's even more than that. There's like a divine picture or description directly of elikus in those words, which you're supposed to be masig, or ba'alidei that you're masig, you're supposed to be mishyached with that divine message, that divine message is meya into you, that elikus actually affects you, and shines or is meir begiloi eloki into your nefesh. That causes you a emesa ava, and with that, you are miskarev through that ava and that chukka, with that arouses, to the oyer eloki. You make a further movement of kiruv to the etzem divine light. In other words, the divine light touches you off, and then you react to that divine light. Ubezeh, however, he said the problem with, when I say the problem, the hakbala in the person that we're describing is, ubezeh hu marav tzima. In other words, he to a certain extent says, I've got elikus, to a certain extent it's like let's not try too hard, let's sort of, but I mean, we have to remember that in Pashtus we're talking here about a very edel yid. I mean, a yid what his mamish misasik in Yonei elikus, but there's a certain tendency, vice in a human, when I say inverted commas human being, to say, oh, what I need to feel, to habe ich a gewaltige, ne? Auch upon him to a certain time, or a le'esato, wenn man sagen, a le'esato, that's like a pause, and let's really ride on this wave, to use an expression. Let's really have this in you. So the Rebbe said, if that's the case, or be'emes, ein ze avoda amitiyas. It doesn't really have, it's not really avoda amitiyas. Give a cook. Why? Ein ze tachlis hadayin. That was unbelievable. He said, it doesn't really have any tachlis. I do bist zufrieden. Du hast verstanden, Elikus, and you were mastic, and you got the point, and even the divine light which is in that point is becoming part of you, and it's going into you, and you have got this sort of age of the Ava, the Nefesh Elikis, and you're even fulfilling that, and you are very high in the B. He's going to say, you've gone up on a Daga, Emes. That's he's going to say that, you've gone up a Daga. He said, but you're not annoyed. Das heißt nicht, it's not really ein von Avodah verwusst, because you are zufrieden. Du hast genommen, and in Elikus, everything has a tachlis. Ain't a tachlis. It's like they say in life, was it a tachlis? What are we looking for? What are we really aiming at? We should do tachlis. And remember, you have fulfilled, you have quenched your age, sort of. Well, it's great for you, but that's not really the tachlis. For them, the Eibusher gave Torah, for them he gave Chassidus, for them he gave everything. That's not the ultimate point. That's not really the tachlis. Well, since what is the other tachlis? The Agam says that Sheva'avo Hari Miskave El Elikus. I mean, we're talking here that he's got emes a geschmack in Elikus, so therefore he's miskarev to the Elikus. You can't just rule these things out. He's mamish become near. Mikol mokim ein bezadayin gilui mamish panafshay rak mash alidei zeh hu imed bedaga elyein yoter. He's got hecha of a mamish gil Elikus panafshay in it. In other words, unless you really do something with your Ava, if you're just happy with your Ava, the Eibusher doesn't really give you Ereliki. You spir Ereliki, of it's not mamish begoli etzlacha. It's a pillar to get that. It's not mamish begoli. It's just that. You can't say that you're just a slipper like you were before. You've gone up a bit onto a hechara darga. You're not just a Adreya, you've gone up into a higher Madrega. But, says the Rebbe, Harizeh, but there a cloud, Kimoi Chakika Miba, it's the famous musik, that is what's called Chakika Mibachutz and Chakika Mibifnim. When you take a piece of wood and you want to make a keli, so first of all you have to, scrape off all the things around the outside that would stop being a keli, and you make what you call a sort of a Schneider room and you make it into a kli, but you haven't yet made the kli kibul inside. And the kli kibul inside is called chakim mifnim. And better klau in Siddur, it's more that chakim mibachutz is psuchi the zimra, and chakim mibafnim is pilchus krishma and charisma, and then shemanas is higher than both in a way. Shemanas are noch episode. That's what I'm saying. Is remember that the chakim mibachutz is a soge. Albeit can be ever so soga, but ultimately speaking, it doesn't really become a genuine avodah that it's mamish koine you be emes. Mashing chakika mibafnim in Birchas Krishma is brought that you come to emes a bittul through the inif and Avasalam, you come to the bittul from Shema, but Shema is mamish the inif and Yechudi Lo. It's Meir Barov Neshomas B'derech Machib, and then there's a beetle of his battles, like we saw here, losing at the Matthias, and a Shinui in the Odom and Ba'avidose, but that's the Mila of Birchas Krishma, and particularly Kriyat Shema. So the Rebbe said, this whole Inyan here, even though he's been mamish meskarib to an Inyan Eloki, and Ava means that he's got a certain Oyer Eloki, he said, but Vibal, that's where he stops, as you might say. And that's where he gets to Frieden. Then he said that's similar to Chakika Miba Chutz HaMavua when I get to the comparison of Tzuchit HaZimra with Birchas Krishna. Umuva, she'ena doima mamish. You can't say it's just only Chakika Miba Chutz. The Shom, Hare lo yesh adayin gilui pnimi klal. In Bechika Miba Chutz, he doesn't really have a gilui benafshe. He just becomes ready and stirred, or he gets rid of the Dvarim HaMafriyim, just like in Chakika Miba Chutz. That's what you do, you get rid of the Dvarim HaMafriyim. So in Chakika Miba Chutz, he hasn't really been mamshik a gilui oyer into himself at all. He's only prepared himself for a gilui oyer. So therefore here there is a gilui oyer. So therefore you can't compare them mamish. Shari gama asoga v'izbonan v'zeh ena b'chinas asoga pnimiyah. I'm sorry. Moving, she'ena deima mamish to shomar eleja dain gilui oyer pnimi klau. Shahare gama asoga v'izbonan v'zeh ena b'chinas asoga pnimiyah. In Chakika Miba Chutz, even the asoga and the izbonas are not really asoga pnimiyah. They're just like dealing with general inyonim, which stir him up and prepare him towards Elikus. Mashiach over here, here there is a gilui, but nonetheless at the Rebbe it's still mirachok. Now that's a pillar. Look, we said before that he's maravet tzimoyne, and there's a gilui nafshe belakut. Gilui eloki is meya benafshe, and he said therefore it's not mamish chakik mebechutz. Chakik mebechutz there's no real gilui elokus pnimi, and here there is, but he said it's a gilui merachok. Now that's a pillar dikeini. It's a gilui and it's a maravet tzimoyne, aber benegel amiti is a inyan that's like a gilui merachok. It's he's only seeing the but he's not really being misachet with it. Pili plus another. Absolutely amazing cloud here. And this was put down on Moshe and Samachet as a whole in the Shul Hemshech, was one of the hardest Hemshech in the citizens, by the way. Very amazing shit. Although he talks about how when a person is misbeina, he doesn't really bring the midas mamish believe, no, they still remain in the he said over there the is mea miracho. It's like roya or miracho. He doesn't actually bring these bonas mamish into the gilui that structures of midas believe. Oh, here's a different idea. Here he's already got a certain gilui. He's already got a gilui alakus mamish benafshe, but be bold that hasn't brought to the emes of tachlis. It hasn't mamish brought it to what we're really looking for in the kavona elokis of a mensch of the world. It's not really emes of tachlis. Therefore, all that oyer is beneged to a mitius ayinian for how elokus is supposed to really be meya in you. It's only miroch. Peace place. Pillar for Nazar. Aval, ein boy dain gilui. It's not really gilui. It's his galus, but it's not gilui. You ever see the thing? The way everything happens in Iron Base. You remember the story I told you that they once asked the Friedrich Rebbe after they started, when they'd gone over to Rostov, I think it was. Asked Rebbe Rashabyan, to the Rebbe Rayatz, what's so special? What's the in of the Hemshech Iron Base? And the Rebbe Rayatz said, he said the Iron Base is an under knip. It's under a knip. It's another way of doing it. Another way of saying very beautiful expression. Because when you get used to learning the Iron Base, you see that everything is said, but it's said in it's like coming at a slightly different angle, and it's always leaving you, a certain oimik, Ian that you didn't quite touch yet. That's how they got he said, "Aim for a dying gilui." V'tachlis alav. Oh, here we get the syntax. Tachlis alav. What is the tachlis? He said it wasn't aimed by tachlis. What is the tachlis? Yavoida miyav. K'meish goes to bein on him. And what's that? In Perek Mem, right near the end, right near the end of Perek Mem. So the Alter Rebbe says over there that tachlis alav yavoida miyav. In other words, tachlis alav is not the ava. Not the ava you feel the gilui, not the way you you sense the Elokus, and not the way you've been brought Tzimoyen and Arvoyas Tzimoyen, he said you got to bring it into Aveda. And what is Aveda? He said Aveda is the inyan from Torah mitzvahs. It's got to come down into Poel Mamish, and your whole oifen of Torah mitzvahs got to be another world in Gansen, because you had that Ava to the point that you've got to see a higher level of the Ava in that Torah mitzvahs. That Ava is nothing to the type of effect you're supposed to have in your Torah mitzvahs, and then you'll be able to say that you reached Ava. That's what he writes at the end of Perek Mem over there. That if you just have Ava, even the highest form of Ava, but you don't bring it into, you're still like somebody who's standing in the water and say, where's the water? You know, the water of mitzvahs. That's where you can have the emes of fulfillment of your Ava. Pidli ploi. Yemel kum to said, alle inyonim amorumas in Tanya. I challenge you, anything which is mentioned anywhere, any inyan in Pnimis HaTorah, somewhere or another, it's Marumas in a half sentence in time. Unbelievable. Look what we've been through here. And yes, we almost a klein musik, you know, what did the Alter of me with that expression? What's the take of mine? Which goes to say, Hainu, sheyavid mishum zeh, because of this Ava, he will serve the Eibusha Kol HaYom b'mitzvahs maisis b'sum mirav asei teim b'poel mamish v'chein yasik b'Torah. You think you have a nice comfortable day, and he said, if you got Ava, then he said, you got to be a committed mensch with that Ava, you got to take it. And what he says, Kol HaYom, you got to be doing mitzvahs and learning Torah, man. Why did you do it? I mean, the Rebbe is talking to everybody here. You know, they got commitments in life. They can't just sit around, in a koil or something, just learn Torah the whole day and be mekayim mitzvahs. No, the Torah is that in every inyan in your life you find in it a mitzvah, and that's your whole inyan in that. Otherwise, the day didn't mean anything. Oh, you found in the year, you got a mitzvah. Oh, you found him saying in the Torah, you discussed it in the Torah with somebody, you learned him saying in the Torah, going past. Yeah, that's it, the whole inyan. That's your whole life. That's your day. That's it. The ganze Tag and bring them laps to, and that's what this whole hour that you got is implied. Or Shalom Aleichem, between the lines, and you're also doing what you're doing. Of a derike is that you see the day as Torah and mitzvah. And now he goes on to say, I'm going to pause now because I've got to take care of something very important. And now he goes on to say, that kufar is a chiluk madreges, and he's going to say whether you just feel that you've come to the ultimate fulfillment of your Ava in the Torah mitzvahs, because they're the Ikar Tachlis, and therefore you feel a whole new type of fulfillment of your Tzimoyim in the, like the Shoiv after the Rotzah. Or he says another possibility is that in the Etzem Torah mitzvahs you feel an even greater Ava than what you felt during Tavnei. That when you actually do the Torah mitzvahs, there's an awakening in you, which is not only b'shovet how it was b'shas you under the talis and food, but it's even b'yetzer. And that's the umitis in it from tachlis ha'ava hu ha'avoda b'ya'ava. That's the tachlis of it. In other words, that the other one's also a bit of a, you know, sort of nice, still a little bit of the nice recognition part of it. Amazing business. He was still talking. This is all oil opinion. So we didn't get back to the oil market in the cloud. What wrong with Calvin was at that time? Isn't that an amazing thing? Yeah. Anyway, come to. I said, if you have a little bit of Ava here, you got to know that not that you should feel Ava here. No, neither. You have to take the Ava here into the world, into Torah mitzvahs, and you got to bring it all into the tachlis. Or was it the tachlis? That the world should fill out. And I'm telling you that I saw the most amazing deer. You know the Alter Rebbe Perek. It was one of these small deer. In Perek Kosain, the Alter Rebbe brings about, you know, Kadiskafi Sitruach, he's Menachem the Beinan. Kol Yoma, Vaveda Zu, Lachfeil, etc. Every time he does, he style the Kuchibru, Chul Amin, and the guns to do it. And he writes over the Kamosh Koso Bezoya, and then he writes Daf Kuf Kof Ches. He puts in the Mari Mochim Bezoya. Not every time he does that, very rarely does he actually put in the actual Mari Mochim Bezoya. So that's tempting to say he means you to look it up. If you look up over there, I haven't got my tongue out to go into all these amazing passages in the Zohar, absolutely mind-blowing. But when he gets to that part about the Istala, that's in the middle, right near the end of the whole big Maimon of the Zohar. He says that the only Stalk is a good Kaddish Kafi Sitrach, when the Mensch Takir makes, he makes the Achfaya Sitrach Be'atmoi, but he said that Istalkusa Do, Yatir Okula, Bekulu Almin, Yesem Bekula, Bekulu Almin, the ganze durch. He said that's Be'ika, Kasher, who Mekarvel Chayeva, when he brings near the Erikot, the mention of San Isla as a year, and it took me to him, if you look at this, mind-blowing, that whole Indian, what Chassidus says, is Stali, he called the Kuchipurik, Kula Almin, the ganze Hafloa, the Kaddish Kafi Sitrache, the Zohar, he says that is Be'ika when you do the Tveita. When you give away your time and your koiches to a tzveita, and your mekarav that a tzveita should feel a mixes giver elikus, Demmel said that they need to trofe shleim. This it's marigen. That meise nafshel chayev ve meitze ve mekarav ve mishtadel based chayev. I think, why is the Alter Rebbe right there? Because he wants you to take a cook. Because he's talking to you, the Alter Rebbe. He said, well, if you take a look over there, you'll find another Chabadske Kvet. And you'll find a hidden Chabadske Kvet. And the hidden Chabadske Kvet is a. In other words, nothing can stay by you. If it stays by you, it's a nishdike. Nishdike, the ishtalike kord, the kuchibrik. Can't say it's not. But the Ike von dem is, when he started to chayev, mamish, piddly close for the master. Yomamel, come to say that. The Rebbe, he left that to hear him for a little while. All of a sudden, the Rebbe comes along and he says, no, that's the way, and that's where we're going to bring the emphasis down here. We've got to go, we've got to get out. And that's state in the Zohar HaKodesh. In brackets, Daf Kuf Ches Chet, the Alter Rebbe just pushing a little my mamuzah in, and they fought right. I couldn't help thinking to myself that this is sicher. It just a couple of days I had to deal with it, with that Indian in town. I said, the Alter Rebbe schreibt, das muss man geguckt haben, wo dort steht. That's an eye-opener. That's a famous page. I mean, the beginning of the whole big Alicha is a famous beer. I can't just go into everything like the Chonshintaitje. And then he gets over into that. Kun je me weten on, het gaat die schaf is het aangen. Dat is zo'n whole big passage. En die zegt, dat is die Ike. Die Ike is telkens, ja, te mikul is dafje aan. Je moet het mee eens zijn. Je ziet, de Rebbe said, Tachlis, you got to take the Avid of the world. And what's the world? You have to do it out of people. You meet up with other people and do it. You have to make mitzvahs. What's mitzvahs? Mitzvahs is doing with andere. You're doing with the film. It's got to come in there, man. Otherwise, it's not worth it. You get full of yourself. Tell you, huh? You know, that was a good thing before Yom Kippur. You understand Yom Kippur? You got to think about yourself. Emma's, that from Nal's dingen, without talking about dingen, Musa, Tatwegen de Welt. Tatwegen, opbrengen voor alle Jiden, zal zijn goed, zijn de Gilerikus van Mathe, dan zijn we Mashiach nou, Pashtet, Keepshut, zijn met Rabban bij Samitis, was it is. We can go on with this whole crazy business around here. Good guys, you forgive me, I've got to run for the house now, take care of something. So, wasn't Maxim Tave, was in the use of her Kohen. He spoke down to the Dhamma right there, but he gave Yom Kippur, the Kohen got him, he didn't go his usual way, and he went straight up in the middle or something. I forget what it was something like that. But he was Maruva, the Kohen and Rabbi. He sort of normally just just went in on his own. He's accompanied by all sorts of, it's a big road paver behind us. Maybe he'll be one of the ones that'll be running on the side of the finger.
Oh man, take me out of
And of course the road will be walking the road, he'll be holding it. But yeah. Think I'm out sitting there. Wonderful to see you guys. Oh, clever. Oh, wonderful. That's really very nice. Thank you, my boy. So listen, guys, have a good geschmack of this year. In the way some make the shashlishi by the show.
Oh man.
To be turned off everything. Okay, so be well. Please forgive me, I've got to run.
So it's all in the room.
You go to the regular Raved Simoncha?
No.
You go to the Rebbe each morning?
Every day. Sign worrying about the Rebbe. You hear? It's still like Union. Not this.
I think I'm also going to be stuck here for the fish.
It's really stuck. Then provision.
What about you say?
Mashiach.
Yeah, that's what we need Mashiach to come on.
Oh, this is the worst. You have a new one. See what's going on.